The Hierophant. Alright, we're going to be using description more often now, so if you're a JoJo fan like me, with little to no other point of reference, you'll picture this when listening to the word Hierophant. It's a pretty cool design, but it took me until this video to kind of understand what that is supposed to be. It's a priest, like just that, but like, yeah, at least the description helps us out a little more here. The card depicts a religious figure that sits in a rather formal environment, characteristic for a church. He is wearing 3 elaborate vestments, which are designated to represent the 3 different worlds. His right hand is properly raised in an act of benediction, a sign of blessing. It's the same hand that the magician has raised. He carries a triple cross, which is associated traditionally with the Pope. Each of the horizontal bars in the cross are thought to represent the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. Beneath him, 2 acolytes are seated, representing the transfer of sacred knowledge within institutions. For these acolytes, the card also comes to represent following the path to knowledge and education. Yeah, honestly, kinda creepy, so it takes a lot of the weight off my shoulders. Since I'm beginning to try and make cards that relate more to the cards and their interpretation, I'm just going to replicate the card but make every character weird. The description says something about 3 worlds, so my idea is that the Hierophant comes from the first world represented by his appearance, and the acolytes are from different worlds, just giving them different styles. They learn from their cranial tooth the knowledge of the Hierophant. Everything else is like the card. The cross has the same 3 bars, and the Hierophant raises his hand. Not really much to explain here. Now, let's see how the Hierophant fares with the judges. On the B tier, we got 4 votes, and on the S tier, we got 3. A pretty well valued card, to be honest. Now, where does that take this card? Well, sadly, it gets a C. It's either ride or die, so it gets penalized. Sorry, my friend. Now, this is a card that has layers. My girlfriend was very distraught by this card, but once I explained it to her, she was pleasantly surprised. So the description says, on the Temperance card, there is an angel with wings, whose gender is not immediately obvious, which suggests that there is a balance between the sexes. One foot of the angel is in water, to represent the subconscious, while the other foot is on dry land, a representation of the material world. On her robe, there is a square, which has a triangle inscribed inside, another echo of the tangible earth in union with the Holy Trinity. She holds 2 cups in a manner where she can mix the waters, which represents the super and subconscious minds. The water flows between them, suggesting union and infinity. Yeah, don't worry, I dozed off after Angel as well. I lied to you. This is not layered like I said, but I mean, this is the Angel card. Where am I going to have an opportunity like this? So yeah, biblically accurate Angel knocked right out of the park. But did the judges think that as well? For the B tier, we got 2 votes. For the A tier, we got 3. And for the S tier, we get another 2. So yeah, I think the judges think that the effort is at least there. So let's see the final ranking for this card. Another C tier. What? I knew it was too good to be true. Let's move on. Alright, the Empress. This one was tough. I feel like literally nobody got it, so I'm glad to get the opportunity to over-explain it. This card description is this. The Empress depicts a woman sitting on a throne. From the abundant nature that surrounds her, we can assure that this woman represents the Earth Mother archetype, a goddess of fertility. Her world is ruled by Venus, which means that there is complete love, harmony, fertility, and luxury by the grace of this goddess. The woman herself has blonde hair crowned with stars, signaling her divine connection with the mystical realm. She is dressed in a pomegranate patterned robe that represents fertility, and she is seated on cushions embroidered with a Venus sign. She is surrounded by an enchanting green forest with a river streaming through it. Oh my god, so long. The Empress brings abundance and blessings in the readings of those she meets. So yeah, the main idea of this card is femininity. It also talks about fertility, and that's where my brain lit up. I'm going to do a Mediterranean fertility statue. At least for me, that statue feels like the main symbol of this idea, just because that's the one I learned first on my history class. However, this fertility idol will be made out of nature, keeping the connection with nature. Basically, this giant idol has been made out of trees, reaching far out into the skies, over a forest that also has a river running through it. Truth be told, that detail was completely accidental. Anyways, for the symbolism of the card, I decided to actually add the moon and Jupiter floating in the background, just so we don't lose the connection. There, that should do it. Now, how did this very interesting card do? Like I said, I might have gotten the symbolism to be more abstract and hidden. Let's see what the judges said. We got 2 C's, 1 B, 2 A's, and 2 S's. Give us a total of another C. Oh man. this is not my section of the video. Oh, my buddy, the sun.
I hate sunshine.
Here, we run into the same problem of the star. With the star, the excuse was that there were many of them, but like, the sun appears everywhere. And yeah, that is my fault. When designing the background, I got inspired by Persona 3 cards and the texture they have, but yeah, I should have picked something else. This is where actually researching the card works out. There are various details in this card that we can make. Let's read. The sun card represents a feeling of optimism and fulfillment. This card represents the dawn which follows the darkest of nights. The sun is the source of all life on our planet, and it represents life energy itself. There is a child depicted in the card, playing joyfully in the foreground, a symbol of our innocence. It represents happiness that occurs when you are in alignment with your true self. The child is naked, meaning that he has absolutely nothing to hide. The card also depicts childhood innocence and absolute purity. This is particularly emphasized for the white horse upon which the child is riding. The horse here is also a symbol of strength and nobility. A lot of nudity. Like, honestly, I'm not going to draw that, especially in this climate. However, that is the only thing that exists in the card, so I decided to recycle the concept of the chariot, a being of muscle that to us represents a kid on a horse or something like that, but in reality it's just this creature. Don't judge me, okay? Araki literally made a stand that was a sun for the sun card. This is a tough card, alright? And as such, this should be a tough card to judge. So, let's review the answers. Our very kind and omnipotent judges gave us 1D, 2 Cs, 1B, 1A, and 2 S's, getting us to a D. These were supposed to be good cards. Like, really? None could really get on the same boat for this one? Darn. Yeah, so we all know that. Like, honestly, this is another devil or angel card. As an artist, I'm just tempted to trust that I know this iconography enough to just depict it however I want. This is my moment of protest, self-expression. So yeah, I just make the death standing over a giant cumulus of a single group of beings. It's just death coming for everyone. Like, really, there is not much to explain. It looks cool, menacing. I just wanted to have fun. Also, this was before Christmas, and since I had a trip planned and wanted to keep my schedule time intact, I just decided to work on 2 cards in the same week. So yeah, that contributed to my burnout, but hey, it looks pretty good, am I right? Alright, bring the results from the judges. We got 3 A's, 4 S's. That's actually good, awesome. Seems like I actually got out of this unlucky streak. Cool. At this point, I decided that I could tackle this without the card description. It's an Empress, pretty simple. I gave myself the creative freedom to do what I want. So, now my idea is to make this alien-like character that floats over the card. I mean, inside the card, no, but whatever. Showcasing her status and power. I gave her a cool staff that's also a cross, because at this point, I totally understood that the thing about these cards is religion. Like, honestly, there's no place on where religion does not exist. Bummer, but yeah. So, what did our judges think of this card? Clearly something good, right? We got 1A and 5 S's. Honestly, I'm going to take that. It's more than I thought it would get. But honestly, I think some of my judges should try and get the vibes. Alright, Justice. Here is when I finally realized that I messed up judgment with Justice. Pretty common mistake, I'd say. And yeah, this forced me to take a different approach. I just went over to the description and made the same balance concept, now without the heart and brain, and just made the scale sit on a magic possessed sword. Not much of a science, as it is more of a quick, desperate fix. Let's see, did the judges think I did justice to the concept of this card, or was my sentence unfair? They gave us 2 A's and 5 S's. Honestly, I'm all for these bumping rankings. It feels like I finally got the vibes as well, and now the final ranking will be an A, settling itself very comfortably. Oh yeah, the world has to be one of my favorite cards. For this, I just wanted to once again allow myself to have fun with concepts I already know. Do you remember Ego, the living planet from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2? Well, that's this card. Yeah, no original thoughts, just an easy win here. Yeah, I just tried making his face a little more organic, made with craters and ravines, taking advantage of the idea of a molten lava core to illuminate his eyes and give it a more eerie feel, and coloring it was my favorite part. I really like how the light feels coming off the eyes and mouth. It totally feels like a real light, and I just made it by layers, which makes this even more surprising to me. I also added these 2 comments because of something about the balance and the stars, and well, honestly, I only care about my little anchor planet. Alright, let's take a break and look at the results. Our judges gave us 1 C, 1 B, 2 A's, and 3 S's. Yeah, we're beginning to lose our magic touch, but it still gets a very comfortably nice B, so not a total loss after all. Finally, we're closing in on the final cards. We get only 1 spin left after this card, and then the last card. The Emperor was a card that I wanted to get right, especially because of the trouble I had with the Empress, so I delved completely into the meaning and representation of this card. Let me read it to you. In the Emperor Tarot card, a stoic ruler figure can be seen on his throne, which is adorned with the heads of 4 rams, representing his astrological sign, Aries. In one hand, he carries a scepter, representing his reign and his right to rule, and in the other, an orb, a symbol of the kingdom that he watches over. The long beard of the Emperor represents his vast experience. Over time, he has learned much about what it takes to rule, to establish power, authority, and complete order for the benefit of his people. So yeah, that was pretty much it. I just took the image of this ruler and played around with the Aries ram aesthetic. I added 4 horns to his throne as opposed to just ram heads, because that would be insulting and time consuming also. I began getting lazy, sorry, but it looks quite nice. For some reason, his throne ended up looking like Thanos' throne in the original Avengers post-credit scene. What a journey that was, right? Now, let's check the results. We got 6 S's and 1 C.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Yeah, I really need to talk to my judges more nicely. Well, anyways, it gets an S. Not even a 10, so sorry, not sorry. Oh yeah! Honestly, I wanted the Wheel of Fortune to be last, because of the entire gimmick of doing a Wheel of Fortune and all, but honestly, the Wheel of Fortune was the last spin on the wheel, because now we know the last card is going to be the moon. So this card was as poetic as it could possibly be. Such a nice touch. And for these last cards, all I wanted was to follow as close to the description as I possibly could. So let's read the description. The Wheel of Fortune is one of the most highly symbolic cards in the deck, filled with signs that each have its own meaning. At the center of the card lies a giant wheel covered in esoteric symbols. There are different creatures that surround the wheel: the angel, the eagle, the bull, and the lion. They are related to 4 signs in the zodiac: Leo, Taurus, Scorpio, and Aquarius. These 4 animals are also representatives of the 4 evangelists in Christian traditions, which is perhaps the reason that they are all adorned with wings. There are also 3 other creatures depicted in this card with different symbolism. These are the snake, the sphinx, and Anubis. So I'll take these 7 creatures and put them on my wheel. And of course, you know, I'm getting the biblically accurate angel in here. And yeah, that's the end of this card. Honestly, this was the most fun I had. I finally felt like I was doing this right, as well as getting to depict these interesting creatures. Well, let's see what chance was waiting for us on this card. We got 6 S's and 1 A. Like, really? It seems like they see the trend and they try to be different. Like, what did you get out of bullying me? Instant S. Now I'm pissed. Let's move on. Alright. Our last card is going to be the moon. And for this, I'm trying to get it to be as accurate as possible. So, let's check our final description. When we encounter the moon, we see a path that leads off into the distance. On either side of the path stand a wolf and a dog, representing our animalistic nature. One is civilized, and the other wild and feral. There is a crawfish that is crawling out of the pond from which the path stems from. In the distance, we can see 2 towers flanking the central path, once again alluding to the doubles visible in this card. Everything in this card seems to echo the other, as if to allude to 2 possibilities. When we walk down the path, we walk the fine line between conscious and unconscious, between the tame side of civilization of the dog and the forces of nature represented by the wolf. Man, that was a read. So yeah, here I'm basically tracing this idea on paper. I'm just making this this wolf and dog into mystic ethereal cloud beings, then adding a bunch of eyes to the crawfish and giving the moon a very cute and creepy face. Spoiler alert, it worked. Now let's rank our very final card. And finally, the very last card. After all these weeks, after all of this effort, we can finally get a full grasp on how my deck fared. Did I fail miserably? Did I do a quite average job? Or was I able to at least leave this project with a bright spectacle and flying colors? The final ranking for this card is an A. Well, it wasn't that bad. And well, what did we learn here? First and foremost, I'd like to say that designing tarot cards is way harder than I expected. Hence why my sister complains so much about her Disney tarot card collection. There's a level of symbolism that needs to be respected. This was a great exercise for my creativity, though I really feel bad for disrespecting the art and meaning of these cards, which is why I am thinking of fixing the cards for my next video. This won't be so hard, given that my sister was kind enough to leave her thoughts on all of my cards, and since she's the only expert that I asked, I'm taking her comments. However, if you like tarot cards and know them well enough to leave your fixes down in the comments, I'll be glad to add those as well. As always, thank you so very much for watching until the end. You know the drill. Like, subscribe, and hit the bell to see my fixes on these cards, as well as other interesting projects I'm planning. I'll be seeing you around, pal!